Hey, listeners! We wanted to let you know before we got started that this is a special bonus episode made possible by Brian McCain, who is a patron and who is executive producer of this very special bonus episode, The Life of Brian, which is pretty perfect selection. Thank you, Brian. We can't wait to get started. Here we go.
Totes Recall.
Welcome to Totes Recall, the podcast where we talk about a movie we can't remember very well. We watch that movie while eating pizzas and salads and come back changed with knowledge about the movie and talk again about how it held up. My name is Dan.
This is Molly.
I'm also Dan.
And I'm Beth.
And as previewed by Molly, our movie this episode is the Monty Python's The Life of the Brian.
Definitely correct.
One
Definitely
of those
the correct title.
thes or more is
Are
not
there
allowed.
those?
There's got to be at least one the, right?
Somewhere
The
in
Life
there.
of Brian or just Life of Brian?
I'm going to say the full title is Monty Python's The Life of Brian. No colon.
Oh,
Wow.
Just
Is that your first bet?
Well, it's
Possessive.
possessive, right?
that is my first bet. You're welcome. First bet. Just like first
Wow.
blood, which means
Put
I
it
get
in the book.
honors.
You get a
I
bonus
get honor
points.
points.
What are Monty Python times?
Pardon?
What?
Is it
Oh, yeah, that's a good question.
like, are we talking 80s?
I think this movie
Oh.
came out in 1979.
Ooh, that's a hot bet, and I'm going to double Dan on it.
Wow.
Wow.
I cheated. I saw it today.
Wow.
Wow, bad.
I was looking up how long the runtime was.
79.
I was just curious how long
so
this movie
disappointed
is.
in you.
Oh, no.
So
Well-
What is the
sorry.
runtime?
Brian is
Like an hour and a
disappointed.
half.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Preview for the second half.
Wow.
I'm going to say 1978 then,
Okay.
just to keep it very mild, like Minnesota Spice.
Yes. Ooh,
Yeah.
you used both spices, salt and pepper, as they say here in Minnesota. And
I'm gonna-
that's
I'm
the
going
show.
to bet. Oh, yep, that's it.
All right, you're welcome, Brian. Thank you for producing this incredible episode.
Yeah. No, I have seen this movie, though.
I've also seen this movie. No big deal.
It's been a long time, and I maybe only seen it once. Our family went hard on Monty Python's The Search for the Holy Grail. Search for the Holy Grail.
Yeah.
Quest?
No.
I have no idea.
Yeah, it's Quest for the Holy Grail,
Quest
I'm pretty
for the
sure.
Holy Grail. My stepfather, Molly, my parents are divorced, introduced that
Nice.
movie to
Callback.
us. We rented it from Gary's Video in Mountain View.
All right. Shout out to Gary's Video.
Gary's Video. There's no way you're still in business.
Come on down to
Sorry.
Gary's Video. We got videos for all of your video needs.
Hey, you need a Monty Python for your family to enjoy on a special holiday when you're trying to bond because your parents are remarried. Come on
Or
down
maybe
to
you-
Gary's Video.
Maybe you wanted a new release, but the new releases are always gone, especially if that nice Tom Cruise is in them. So how about instead an old movie, Monty Python?
Hey,
we've
we
always
got
at least
brown
one-
cases here at Gary's Video. All the videos come in plain brown cases. It's a weird color for a video case, but that's what it was. Unless it was an over 18, then it was a weird black pleather-looking thing, I think.
Oh.
Never rented one.
Oh, you
It's me,
think.
Dan.
You think. Huh?
Reaching back into my memory from Gary's Video.
Wow.
Maybe on Castro Street? Anyway, Mountain View.
So you're saying you've seen the movie?
So I'm saying I'm more doing a deep dive into my own memory about Monty Python, which we saw Holy Grail, thought it was as like, I don't know, 8 and 11, thought it was the funniest thing we had ever seen in our whole life.
Right. Pretty standard.
As all
reaction
like
for
nerdy 8 and 11-year-olds think.
11-year-olds, yeah.
And then, eventually we were like, oh, let's check these other ones out. And I saw Life of Brian, but do I remember it? Time will tell.
I don't think I've seen this, or I've seen part of it and hated it so much I turned it off. Which is maybe not the best way to start out. But I will say, for Quest for the Holy Grail, I was a fan. I don't know how I saw that, but I do remember seeing it for the second time on a sort of date. I don't know if you've had one of these, especially in college, where some guy who lives in your dorm just casually mentions that Quest for the Holy Grail is playing at the Georgia Theater.
Yeah.
And he's going to go. Probably.
On his hog? Was he like revving his hog?
No hog. No,
Okay.
art student.
Art
All
student.
black
Moped.
clothes and
Horse-drawn carriage.
Yeah. What are we working on up top in terms of head
there's
covering?
no hat because this is in Athens, Georgia. Athens.
So like a laurel. He's got a
Yeah.
bay leaf laurel. What are laurels made of? Laurel?
Probably.
I really feel like the listeners are on the edge of their seat about how this date went.
Oh, sorry.
I actually don't think that at all. So let me hurry up and finish the story. It was a sort of date, and I wasn't sure. We went to the movie. We had a great time, and then something just like shifted in the energy, and it did not feel like a date anymore. And we just walked back to the dorm. We lived at the same dorm, and we're like, okay, bye. And that was it. To this, I have no idea if this guy liked me or if I liked him or what was happening. But like, just sometimes that it just seemed like things were like that. They would just evaporate.
What? So like, was it that you guys had like very different reactions to like a specific moment in the movie where your brains were just like, oh no, this is not compatible
This is
at all?
over.
I don't think so. And it was the kind of thing where it was filled with fans who had seen it a billion times. So it was almost like, oh, help me.
Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Yes, thank you. Oh, thank you, Dan.
You're welcome.
It was kind of like that. So there's lots of participation and stuff. Probably, you know what? I don't have a good poker face. I probably looked horrified or something. I have no idea. Anyway, it didn't work out. So, hey, teens, sometimes it just doesn't work out.
Yeah. Hey,
And that's-
teens.
Okay. Yep. Go
Yeah.
ahead.
Just sometimes it doesn't work out, and also like that's fine, but also like make your intentions clear
Yeah.
in the first place, because otherwise you're setting yourself up for emotional trauma. So like, it's fine. If you want to be friends, just be friends. Like,
You want to date? There's nothing
Or-
allowed in the middle.
no,
Dating is not a spectrum.
right.
Either you want to get up on or you want to not. You want to get off. No, that's the same. You want to.
What's
Whoa.
happening?
Go,
No,
you
shut
wanna-
it down.
you
Shut it
wanna-
down.
Again,
Hey, you want to hang out.
if there has ever been a time that we have made it very clear that we are all canonically 35 years old, it is at this moment where we
Yeah.
created this incredibly binary understanding of interpersonal relationship.
Anyway, Life of Brian maybe has
Mm-hmm.
some romance in it.
I honestly, I have never seen it, and I cannot tell you anything about it except for that it's a Monty Python movie.
Okay, go.
Is that
Give us
really
the summary?
Is that really the full bet?
That is all I know about it. I mean, I can guess from the title. I guess.
Go. Give
Yeah.
us a plot summary.
Go.
So my
it
guess
now.
is that it's like very silly, Monty Python style. There's going to be a lot of visual gags and like
Okay.
probably some character who's like got some tick, like, but I think our main character is named Brian,
Okay.
Okay.
Solid
that's a
bet.
solid bet.
Solid bet.
and we follow him in his whole life. So from his infant days to his death.
Do you think we're there at the birth?
Yes.
Okay.
Or at least like you see like the baby being handed off to his mom, and his mom is probably horrible. Just
Okay.
based on how like
Bad mom.
comedy works
Right.
Yeah.
at that period, like women are either just very sexy or horrible
Yeah.
witches.
Or
Are
they're
we-
played by men.
Yes.
Yeah, I was
Monty
gonna say,
Python.
like, do you think his mother is played by one of the Python men in Drake?
Yes, definitely.
Great.
So
li-
are we
yeah.
going to accept that situation to pass the Bechdel-Wallace test?
Oh.
As
Hmm.
long as the character is a woman,
Like they're-
is that sufficient?
I think even with I think even with a man playing a woman, that woman will not talk to another man playing a woman.
I love it.
I guess, and I'd have to
love
go. I kind of agree with Beth, but also we'd have to hashtag check the comic tapes. But I believe it's 2 female characters, right? So it has nothing to do with the actors portraying them.
Right.
So I would
Yeah.
say yes, as it's written. If 2 goofball pythons dressed up as ridiculous characters of women talk to each other and have names, and they don't talk about a man and passes.
Something other than a man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're establishing that it would pass, but I think, and I'm with Beth here, I don't think it will pass.
Yeah, even
Regardless.
with that, I
Yeah.
don't know,
Generous.
generous ruling by me,
Yeah.
the judge
Yes.
of the podcast.
I will say it does pass to be spicy. I'll be the
Oh.
pepper in this
Ooh.
case.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess I'll also be Pepper and say yes.
Does this movie take place in like olden times,
This
like a Holy Grail situation,
this
or is
movie
it
takes
like
place in
current
Jesus
day?
times.
Yes.
Oh, it does.
Yes.
This is
Is
a Jesus.
Brian,
Oh,
like-
is Brian is the disciple that didn't get written up,
Oh,
like Bartholomew?
I really
and-
think Brian is just like a dude who has a very ordinary life, but is like near Jesus.
I think he's like, I think it's sort of like it's sort of like the same thing with like The Big Lebowski was like the dumbest noir film of all time. Like this is like the dumbest biblical parable of all time.
In that case, I have seen part of this movie,
Okay.
Okay.
and I did not like it.
Okay.
I kind of, spoilers for the Bible, I kind of only remember the crucifixion parts of this movie.
Oh,
So I think there's some real like goofballs trying to help, or like the people on crucifixes are like comically happy,
That seems right.
That's your
something
bet?
like that. Maybe
That's your
there's like
bet?
a musical. Yeah, there's a musical kind of
Like
dance
a
number
dance number.
on crucifixes.
Mm-hmm.
That's my
That
bet.
adds up. This makes sense to me.
are they going to make their own horse sounds? Are there any horses in this?
Ooh, great question.
No.
I'm going to say there's a
Donkey?
donkey.
Ooh.
Maybe they'll make their own donkey sounds.
Maybe they'll make their own donkey sounds.
So
Molly's bet.
is Brian?
Hoofed animal sounds.
That's I like it. Is Brian born? Like, is he born on the same day that Jesus is born? So he's like kind of growing up next to Jesus.
Maybe.
I think so. Yeah, I think they sort of have like parallel lives.
There's
Okay.
definitely a nativity joke at the beginning, I think. I recall there being like a lot of like visual setup to like the nativity, and then it's just like, oh, it's not actually that. It's something completely mundane and dumb because it's just a guy,
I see.
I think.
I think Brian is played by Michael Palin.
Kane.
Palin. Michael Caine. That'd be amazing.
That would be good. Palin?
I think it's Palin.
That's not the. Who's the food guy?
What?
Pollan. Michael Pollan.
Yes.
Colin, yes.
Yeah.
Spelled very differently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Eat food.
And I also just, in my own defense, I think when I first saw it, I was like young and at somebody's house.
Mhm.
So I just want to say I may not hate it now that
Wait,
I'm an
what's-
adult.
I want to know about the second part of this.
Yeah,
So
I
you
do
can
too.
only enjoy movies that you've seen in your own house.
Oh,
Maybe
in
that's
theater?
why it didn't work out with that guy.
Yeah.
Like,
you were talking
oh,
about your
movie
house
theater?
all the time.
They're like, I can't be in a relationship with this guy. He's not in my own house.
We literally live in the same house, and you chose to go elsewhere to watch a movie?
No, thank you.
No.
Put a hat on.
Yeah. No, I just mean that it wouldn't have been something I picked, but I guess I'm defending myself in advance for not liking this movie. I just don't want to sound so negative. I mean,
Molly, I don't know
somebody
if you
picked out
realize
this movie for us to watch, and I want to be like, open-minded, open-hearted about it. And if I say, oh, I hated it, that's based on like a 9 or 10-year-old's evaluation.
Yeah, but
It's
Yeah.
not really fair.
I mean, I think it's okay to have had an opinion about a movie. The whole conceit of this podcast, I don't know if you remember, is that we have
Oh, yeah.
seen these movies before and have pretty good ideas of what we think about them and are sometimes surprised.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so I saw Monty Python's something Holy Grail at my friend's house when I like at a sleepover.
Yeah.
And her dad was like, "You have to watch this movie," and I was like, "I don't get it." And
You have to watch this movie.
he's
That's a
like, "You'll
dad
like
move.
it.
That's
You'll
a
like
dad
it.
move.
It's
That's a dad
funny."
move.
And I just didn't get it. But I saw part of the movie recently, and I was like, "Oh, okay. No, I like my." Somehow my comedic what's the word I'm looking for, got like more childish as I got older. Like this thing with the like coconuts really cracked me up the
Oh,
second
yeah.
time I saw it.
They're very silly, these lads
Yeah, it's
from
very-
Liverpool.
Are they from Liverpool? You don't know.
So
Yeah, I mean, it's very absurd. And so, like, yeah, like you do have to be you have to accept a certain level of idiocy to enjoy Monty Python's shtick.
which I do. That's why I'm on this
Clearly.
podcast.
Hey.
Sorry.
Wow. But yeah, I could see a
I didn't know
child
everyone was
Beth.
going to be offended by this.
I could see a
I'm
child
not.
Beth being like, what is this?
I'm going back
Yeah,
to swimming.
Oh,
Oh, that's a synchronized swimming reference. Got
Oh.
it?
yeah. I wasn't swimming
you
when
know,
I was
I think-
like a child, but
Yeah,
it's fine.
Dan, you dummy.
You idiot. That wasn't until junior high.
Check your Beth chronology
Check
book
the
that she
tapes.
made us all read when we started this
I,
podcast.
I read the cliff notes on her memoir.
Oh, wow.
I
Sorry,
wish that there were a word or like a phrase to express something that I've noticed from my own life and from other people like Beth, where you're actually older when you're younger. Like, I've always felt a little bit like Benjamin Button in that I feel like I've lightened up considerably. Like, from the time when I
Yeah.
was 9 years old, I was really obsessed with nuclear winter. I was also a child of the Cold War, but
Yeah. I mean, that,
I was
that checks out.
really into politics and a really intense little kid.
Yeah.
And then in my 20s, I was like, I have to get a corporate job and do all this stuff, right? And then around my 30s, I was like, oh, I think I'm going to do my 20s over.
Yeah. You're like a
I
boss
think I'm going
baby.
to do it right this time.
Boss baby. That's
Yeah, boss
exactly
Boss
what
Baby,
it is.
that's what it is. It's Boss
Okay,
Baby.
well, that can be canon if you want.
I haven't
Yeah.
seen the movie, so I don't know. If
I don't
that
think it's very
fits.
good, but it's a serious business baby.
Yeah, the baby's good at business.
Yeah.
Okay.
Voiced by Alec Baldwin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's a baby.
You know,
and a boss.
babies probably are very good at business. They just can't communicate as well.
Yeah.
Do you think that's why they get so frustrated all the time?
Yeah, that's
I
why they're
do,
crying.
actually.
They're
They're
trying to
like,
business.
Yeah.
the numbers.
Ooh, charts.
Ooh, your
Synergize.
finances are in disarray.
What are you doing with that receipt? That's deductible.
That's definitely.
Yeah.
If
But
you're,
you see what I'm saying? It's like the Benjamin buttoning. And I think it happens very often with girls. Young girls are very, very serious sometimes. And I don't think we're dissuaded from being that way. And I think eventually you just sort of figure out that you don't have to be that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, that seems
Yeah.
true to me.
Yeah. And just boys will be boys, you know?
Ugh,
Just
Oh,
like,
gross.
Yeah, like boys can just watch a dumb movie
Just
and
like
enjoy it because they have everything laid out for them in a silver platter.
they don't have to worry about anything. 'cause
Culturally
there's
speaking,
no
obviously, there's a lot of
problems.
other systemic problems that ruin their brains
Sure,
from an early age and are often not in a place of privilege and are the victims of their own parents or their own father's terrible lot in life that is then passed down. Anyway, this is a fun comedy that
think
makes
Brian's
fun
got a
of
dad?
silly. Do I think Brian's got a dad?
Yeah.
God,
I think
is he also God's child?
Oh.
I bet there's a running Dan's bet there's a running joke where his mom won't tell him about his dad because like the joke is like maybe he is of divine birth, but she's just like not telling him because she doesn't want to think about his shitty dad.
Yeah.
I'm guessing that's an ongoing joke of the movie.
Okay.
Wow.
Classic.
Mhm.
Can I admit something? Earlier in the podcast, you made a joke about
Who did?
Dan Jaquette and
That's me.
Molly
Oh.
together.
Wow.
Made jokes about Hatlanta, which I did not understand.
Uh-huh.
When you were talking about Athens, I was very confused on why someone wouldn't be wearing a hat in Athens. But I later got it, and I just wanted to clarify that I now understand the joke. It was funny, and if anybody else is on the same spot as me, where you did not know what they were talking about.
Yeah.
That was the joke from 20 minutes ago.
Yeah. I will talk
Wow.
more about Laurel's if we want to, because I'm still
Can
not
we
sure.
take a moment to appreciate the fact that, like, Beth being the person who has final cut on this show could have just been like, oh, now, again in her head, been like, oh, I get it, and then just cut that entire conversation out of the podcast.
Which would have been legit because there is no reason for it. Like, it doesn't do anything or further anything
I don't know.
at all.
I think it furthers the Molly Chase lore that you have apparently spent time in both Greece and the Soviet Union.
I have
Yes.
not spent time in Greece.
Okay, Athens is
So
in
maybe
Greece.
we should-
It's the capital, I think.
Okay. All right. Pause.
So Athens is a city
It's
in
the capital,
Georgia,
I
the Soviet Republic.
No.
Ah.
Nope.
Yep, checks
Nope.
out.
The
Okay.
Soviets took over Greece. From my
No.
memory, of
Probably why you
history.
didn't enjoy Monty Python, because all the jokes were in Russian.
Yeah.
Friends, no. Athens, Georgia is like, I don't know, an hour's drive from Atlanta. But I tried to specify. So longtime listeners will know that there is a nickname for the city that I'm from, Atlanta, that I despise, that is regarding heat and Atlanta. And the way that my
Why didn't you
Totes
just
friends
say
have gotten
hot
around this, I won't. You can't make me. Have gotten around it is by calling it Hatlanta.
Yeah.
So there's always a hat reference or heat reference. And so I was trying to like bypass it, but Dan was too quick for me.
Again,
This is like too long.
yeah,
I
that
point out
we
that
should just,
Molly.
I think we should go further into describing this joke from 20 minutes ago.
Yeah,
I
would've
as we
given
all
this-
know, when Brian McCain decided I would like to put in my hard-earned money to produce an episode of Totes, a bonus episode of Totes Recall, I want them to watch Monty Python's Life of Brian, and then I want them to spend the majority of the podcast talking about our ongoing, incredibly fruitful bit where we say the same two words to Molly every episode, and she
Yep.
gets mad about it.
No, people love repetition in
Yeah.
comedy. It's just like you hear a thing a lot of times and then you LOL. And then
Right, exactly. You don't
what's-
LOL until you've heard it many
Yeah.
times.
And then what's really fun is to go back and sort of relive those LOL moments by really kind of breaking it down. It's sort of like game tape. Like you'll see, so football. And you see a football show, and before the football show, they talk a lot about how the football's going to go. And then after the football show, they talk again about how it went. It's the same with
Yeah.
a comedy. You make a comedy, and then you talk about the comedy after the comedy. And it's just LOLs.
I feel like our listeners should know
Are
that
you done?
also Dan left the building.
I just tried to give Brian McCain what we assume he wants.
What he
which
wants. What he
is
wanted. Yeah.
Just like a Ouroboros of our own podcast and nothing to do about the movie that Life of Brian. Molly, what should we rate this?
Smooth.
Do you have whiplash?
We are
Okay.
professional
Okay.
podcasters. We have been doing
How
this for half
many-
a decade.
How many
Oh my god.
Brian Brown VHS cases?
Oh, Brian
So
Brown.
is the color a color known as Brian Brown? Like that's the
Yep.
official like Pantone is Brian Brown?
Yep.
Okay, great. So like if you saw this
VHS.
brown, you'd be like, "Oh, that's a Brian Brown."
You'd be like, oh, wow, they've got Brian Brown at Gary's video
Yeah,
store.
it's the Kelly Green of Brian's. Or
Come
Brown.
on down to Gary's. We got Brian Brown VHS cassette tapes.
It's our own color of brown. No one can use it. It's proprietary. Brian Brown.
UPS stole it from us.
Actually,
UPS
yeah.
is brown is Brian Brown?
Yeah.
Really?
So when
Yeah.
they mean what can Brian Brown do for you?
So they're just shortening it to Brown.
Yeah, Brian
Because they
Brown.
know that
He was
we
the
all
founder
know.
of UPS.
Oh, okay.
And he was like,
Things
what can
are
I do
adding up
for
now.
you? And that was, what can Brian Brown do for you? What can
And
Brown
he
do for
walked
you?
into Gary's video at one point and he was like, wow, that's a solid brown. And Gary was like, thank you, I invented it myself. And Brian Brown was like, oh, do you have that? Do you have any legal documentation of that? He's like, yeah, maybe somewhere. And then Brian Brown went zoink and ran out
Like
and immediately went
Yeah.
to color court and got the rights to that color.
Dun-dun, color court.
Yep.
I used to watch that like when I was sick at home. I would lay on
What?
the couch and watch Color Court.
Is that real? That's a real thing?
No.
Yeah.
It does
I
seem
mean,
like
it's
that would be
definitely-
a segment on Sesame Street.
I was just gonna say that. Yeah,
Oh,
it sounds like a
yeah.
Sesame Street bit.
Where they're like,
Hey, Sesame Street, if you haven't done that yet and you're going to, give us money. Give us some of that sweet HBO money that's flooding in.
Oh yeah, I forgot that they were HBO and not PBS.
Yeah, I was about to make a joke about stealing money from public television, but then remembered they get money from HBO now.
Yeah,
So
okay,
give
give us
us
money.
Sesame Street.
Home Brown office. Am I right?
What?
What?
Brown. We were making jokes about Brown. So the B.
Oh,
What's Brown
Browno.
office?
I was
You're
just
saying
trying to
H.
put
Browno, home
It's
Brown
like-
office.
So also in comedy, you do if you do a
Oh
joke
my
later
God.
that you did before, it's a callback, and people love it. They eat it up.
I think this movie is. I remember finding it funny because I thought Monty Python was LOL funny when I was younger. And I think it's
Probably still going to be somewhat funny because it's still going to be dumb. And as Beth said, as we get older, you kind of find stupid stuff more funny because maybe it's easier to just turn your brain off and be like, LOL, this is stupid. This is so nice to not think about the real world. But also, I feel like it's probably going to feel very dated and very male comedian from the 60s or whenever they like really blew up. And also, like, if you follow any of them now, like, they definitely have a very dated worldview. So there might be some parts of me that were just like, okay, I guess that was funny back in 1970, whatever. So I'm going to say a cowardly Brian Brown VHS tapes. I'm only renting a cowardly 3 Brian Browns from Gary's video.
Wow.
Mhm.
Beth, I think you're next.
God. Why is this so hard for you guys?
I don't know.
I know that I'm next, but I'm waiting to be prompted because I feel like that's how the show usually works. So I just want to say I know how our show works.
Okay.
Alright.
Well, maybe someone else could take over prompting that.
I'm going to start saying Beth and then Beth, and then I'll start. So I'll prompt myself.
Great. That's a bit I can get behind.
Okay. So I have no idea how I'll feel about this movie, but my boyfriend, when I told him what movie we were watching today, he said, "You'll hate it." So,
Wow.
but you know, I want to have a positive attitude. So let's say I love it. Let's say
Yeah.
4.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Beth's boyfriend.
In your face.
You don't know.
Boyfriend.
You don't know her.
Feel
I'm not trying to I'm just trying to have a good attitude. So in the second half, if I do hate it, I can really go hard. You know,
Yeah.
it's a long fall.
I see.
Right.
You're like giving yourself the room to like really back up so you can really sprint towards hating it.
Yes, exactly.
So that would make it a Beale Baggins Blair Witch Bold boyfriend bet.
Okay,
Yeah.
first of all, you butchered the original version.
Yeah.
Yeah, how does the
Beale
original
Bold-
version go?
Beale Bold, Big Man Baggins, Blair Witch, Beth's boyfriend, Beth. Right?
I mean,
Is that what
was
you're
good.
trying to say,
You said it
Mom?
with
Yes.
confidence,
Okay.
so I'll accept it. But it's Beale, Big Man, Blair Witch Baggins.
Fine.
Beale Butcherbold. Beale Butcherbold, Big Man, Blair Witch Baggins.
Beale Butcher. Where'd the
Where's
butcher come from?
Oh,
Just
'cause it got
now.
butchered.
Because of what?
Molly butchered it. God, is no one listening to the podcast but me?
Beale Bold, butchered bit, Big Man Baggins, Beth's boyfriend, Brian McCain, producing.
This just got 1,000% harder in this episode to remember.
Yeah. Well,
Well-
you're going to have to say it from memory
Every
later.
time.
so.
Yeah, or else you're off the cast. Survivor
no.
rules now.
Oh, that's right, because you're the podcast judge, so you can decide that.
Dun, dun.
Even though Beth is the producer
Also,
of the show.
good luck, everyone.
Okay, next is
I
me.
think Beth is the only one who even knows how to upload the episodes to the feed.
I
Like
think
I
that's
said,
true.
Like,
Good
we're
luck.
completely screwed.
I think I know who I can ask, though.
Okay, we'll see.
It's my turn, Dan, and I am anticipating liking this movie quite a bit. I'm going to give it a
Okay.
4. I think there's potential for full 5 LOL moments, but I am hedging against potential a bunch of dudes making sexist comedy in the late 70s. So that's where I think my -1 is coming from, and the accounting checks out. And on to you, Molly.
Okay,
prompt.
I'm going
Great
to be Beale, Bold, Selma, Blair, Witch, Baggins, Butcher, Beth's boyfriend, Bold, and give it 4
Wow.
Brian Brown VHS covers. And the reason is similar to Beth's, with the addition that, and just a pure optimism and hope that it'll be fun to watch with y'all, especially that this was a gift. So I don't want to be like a downer about a gift. So, you know what? Well, let's bring it up to 5.
Whoa.
Wow.
Be extra Beelbold Baggins.
Pressure is on for the second half.
Yeah. Wow.
Nowhere to go from there. Except for.
I feel like I just want to say that, like, I respect that Brian comes to the show expecting us to have integrity.
Right.
Which is why I'm just being frank and honest about my expectations about this movie, even if it's possible that I've insulted Brian by not full-throatedly supporting the possibility that this movie is more than 3.
Do you think Brian actually really likes this movie, or it's because his name is in it?
Do you think he actually hates it, but he's just sort of like, this will be funny because they say my name a lot?
Oh.
Brian, when you hear this, tweet at us with the hashtag Brian movie for Brian name or hashtag Brian movie for Brian like.
Yep, we'll know.
We'll know what that means.
bet.
We'll definitely
Honestly,
remember by
we'll
the
be
way.
more likely to know what that means than a lot of the other hashtags we throw out there.
Yeah. My bet.
Especially if this one guy tweets it at us.
I bet he likes it and thinks it's funny that his name's in it.
Nice.
But we'll find out when the Twitters roll in.
And with that, we're going to press pause, go watch The Life of Brian, and we'll be right back.
Hi, listeners. It's me, Dan, your mid-roll host, coming at
What
you.
is this, a public radio fundraiser?
The internet, where you download this podcast, here to tell you a little more about how you too can be a executive producer of TotesRecall.com, the podcast. Go to this website, open up your computer, type it in https://www.totesrecall.com and then look for a Patreon button, or go to https://www.patreon.com/totesrecall.com.
No,
Or you know what?
there's
At this point,
Jesus.
just maybe give Brian McCain a call
Yeah,
and
maybe
say,
just-
"Hey, how did you become executive producer on that awesome episode?"
Yep.
Yeah.
And then you'll go to a website. One of 3 ways. Choose your own adventure.
Okay,
Scroll down.
I feel like you are being very dismissive of Molly's help, and you are doing a shit job at this. I really feel like...
How dare you?
there's-
It's my time. I'm on the schedule. I get to do the mid-roll.
Oh, wow. Behind the curtain, we have a schedule
Wow.
for this.
And you can
Don't try to find the pattern.
pledge the patterns in the waveform.
Brian, we're so sorry that this is the level of quality you're getting for the episode that you're producing.
And you
But
too
also thank you.
can
Yes.
request a movie with your name in it if there's a movie with your name in it. Not everybody has a movie with their name in it.
Ooh,
Right?
there's a challenge.
That's the Totes Recall Challenge. Become a movie executive producing level member, then research a movie that has your name in it. If there's not one,
I don't-
make it, and then
I
submit
don't want
it.
to make the bar too high.
You don't
Like,
have
I
to
feel-
do this.
This is a challenge.
Also, and it doesn't have to necessarily even be like your name is just in the title. Like if you can just pull your name out of the letters of the title,
yeah.
I think that counts.
Anagrams are allowed.
Okay.
Okay.
Anyway, I think we have covered all the important points, and I get
Yep.
an A+ on the assignment. Now back to the episode.
we're back. We just watched 1 hour and 34 minutes of British jokes and casual crucifixions.
All right. Factual.
Yeah.
A
Factual.
factual
That
summary.
is accurate.
I mean, maybe could use a few more seconds of summary if I had my druthers.
Well, I've got good druther-based news for you then. Beloved segment 60-second summary, hashtag 6sum, is now going to happen. That's the traditional intro. I'll do it.
Sure.
Is it my... I feel like I actually haven't done it in a
I don't
while.
think you've done it in a
No.
while. I'll get
Your
the time.
turn.
Yeah. Are you ready?
Yes, I am ready.
He's centering himself.
Go.
We open on a choir vocalizing, and then there are three wise men. John Cleese is in blackface. Bummer. They visit a baby. It appears to be Jesus, but turns out it's Brian. And then they figure that out, and they fuck off and go deal with Jesus. That sets the stage for Brian's life of being mistaken for someone important. Anyway, jump forward 33 years
30 seconds.
to the year 33. And a bunch of stuff happens. There's little vignettes of life in oppressed Jerusalem under Roman rule. People mistake Brian for a messiah, follow him around. He then joins a resistance
10
movement.
seconds.
And in the end, he gets crucified.
And there's a song.
And there's a song.
Great. Time.
God.
I was gonna
Well.
say nailed it, but we
Oh.
just landed on crucifixion.
They didn't nail anybody, though.
No,
That's
they really
true. They
didn't.
were
No.
tied.
They were tied. Then they also had nails in their hands. Fake
Oh.
nails, presumably. If you looked at their hands.
I hope
Hashtag
so.
tape
Oh,
tapes.
I didn't see the fake nails.
I didn't either. I was
Too busy
concentrating on
enjoying
their
the
footwork,
song.
fancy
Yeah,
footwork.
exactly.
Yeah. So that's
Man,
the
that might have
movie.
been the most successful 60-second summary you've ever done.
It blew
Yeah,
me
Yeah,
away.
I
really?
mean, there's not a ton of plot. It's kind of sketches,
Yeah.
but
Well, it
I'll
starts
take
out
the
as
compliment.
sketches, right? And then it just sort of becomes a movie.
Yeah.
And
I
there's
know.
an alien thing at some point. I was looking down at my phone.
Yeah.
Shocking.
Yeah. No,
wasn't shocked.
that was a very weird moment for me because I did look down at that moment
Mm-hmm.
to see if anyone had said anything funny. And
We hadn't.
you hadn't, but I looked up
Sorry.
and he was on a spaceship with two aliens
Correct.
and it was confusing.
Hank Crestorn knocked it out of the park
Oh, with those puppets?
with those puppets in
Forget
the
about it.
spaceship. So good. Yeah, what you missed, Beth, is that he went up a set of stairs that weren't finished, fell off of the tower, and landed in, I assume, an open-top spaceship.
Yeah.
Well, okay, I'm glad to know that there was a transition from the story to that part of the story.
You thought
'Cause
it was
that-
just like a quick cut?
Well, no, for a moment, I thought that was going to be the rest of the movie. And I was
Oh,
very
that would've been
excited about it.
amazing.
Like,
Yeah.
all of a sudden, it turns into some, like, space fantasy.
It
But
would've
it was
been
just kind of like,
redonk.
oh, isn't it funny? He goes on this alien adventure. And then the joke is that he is still being chased by the Romans.
That's the joke.
It was a joke.
Yeah.
There was lots of jokes.
This movie came out in 1979.
Ooh!
The
Wow.
Dans nailed it.
Boom!
Dang. I knew that you
Molly.
did because I already knew the answer.
Yeah.
Well, that doesn't count because you didn't say it. Dan's rule.
And Beth,
That's
as someone who had never seen this before, you made some quick bets.
Ooh,
Let's
right.
go down them. This was a Monty Python movie.
Nailed it.
Yes.
Nailed it.
Crushed it.
It was silly. Yes.
Yeah.
It has visual gags.
Yep.
Yes. There was a character with a tick. Absolutely.
What do we?
Many. All the characters have ticks.
What? What do we mean when we say a tick?
I
There's just
think
some.
like the jailer with the stutter was maybe the most tick-like.
Yeah, but
but I
I
don't
feel
wanna
like
speak for Beth.
they. I mean, almost all of the like characters who were just outside of the main characters,
like
they
they had
all
an
have something.
Affectation.
Yes, they all have
Yeah.
like some. I guess I was thinking of it in like an improv kind of way, where it's like, oh, you have your thing, and then that you build your character off of that. And so like there's the two guys who have this. They have the lisp. Then there's the guy with the stutter, and there's the one guy who's deaf, and then there's the like. I mean, they're just every character has some deal. And that's their character. There's nothing beyond that. Like, that's what makes them their character. Yeah.
And I would like to give. Oh, I know it's too early for MVPs. I'll hold off. Never mind.
Okay. Teaser.
We got two more out of Beth. Brian is in this movie.
Very good.
And last,
Very well done.
Thank you.
the bad mom. The mom was bad
Yeah.
and was a Python man.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
I didn't bet the Python Man part. That
okay.
That was given to me, but I'll take it. She wasn't. No, she was.
I don't know if I'd call her a bad mom.
No,
No,
just.
I didn't mean. I guess I didn't mean. I don't. I guess what I meant is annoying, like
Yeah.
kind of like shrill. I don't. There's
like
no
a
other word to
nagging,
use.
a very nagging
and
mother.
like yeah, like she's not pleasant.
That's
and
true.
that is completely true. I had a
Yes.
very difficult time understanding anything that she was saying, and because it's almost like a bad Miss Piggy voice, and it's I don't know. I find that voice. There's a lot of that in like older comedies where like that's how the woman sounds, and I have a really hard time with it because I'm like, that's what you think women sound like?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely. I mean, I guess shout out to Frank Oz for creating a like being able to enunciate so clearly with Miss Piggy's voice.
For real.
Yeah,
So I think that's 100% on Beth Betts.
yeah.
Yep,
I think you
crushed
absolutely destroy it.
Wow. I looked up effect.
Oh, okay.
Oh, did you?
Yes, I did.
Where did
You know,
you
let's just jump
find
into
this
it.
fact?
I think for too long we've held out on Molly's internet encyclopedia-based segment.
I mean, if
We have-
anything, like he didn't say this to us directly, but I can infer that when Brian McCain selected this movie, what he was saying was, watch the movie and then get to the goddamn Wikipedia segment.
Yep.
That's what we came here for.
It's Wikipedia.
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 Molly came to watch a movie.
Wikipedia.
She got bored. She hates it all.
Wikipedia.
She looked at her phone. No voicemails or emails to
Wikipedia.
enjoy. Going to www. Did I say enough W's? Wikipedia.org.
.org.
She typed in the name of the movie. She read some stuff
yeah.
about the movie.
The Life of Bra, yeah.
And then she learned some things.
Wikipedia.
Wikipedia.
As always, we are still awaiting one more pledge from the very
We're
last
so
listener.
close. Guys, hey,
Once,
you guys are really, it's chapping my ass a little bit. Like, we're so close
Graham
to
Chap
getting,
put in your ass.
Graham chapping my ass a little bit. So close to getting every single listener to donate how much?
$3.
$3.
Well, maybe $2.75.
No, $3.
Oh,
We're not going to let Wikipedia undercut our dreams.
No.
all right, got it. $3. That's
To
what I said the
vote
whole
with
time.
your dollar, whether we do this segment exclusively all of the time or never do it ever again.
Yes.
And we're so close. And one of you is really dropping the ball here.
Yep.
Oh, boy.
So tell your friends, you guys who have already done it,
Yeah.
tell your friend, you know who they are, to just get to it.
Get to it. Get
Take
three
out,
it.
pull $3 out of God knows where, and just hand them to patreon.com/totes3call.
Oh, my gosh. Okay.
Think of it.
All right, Molly. Traditional intro, and you're a go.
That was part of the song, by the way.
Yeah, that was like the ad lib. You know how sometimes with rap songs it's just
Yeah.
like an ad lib
We did
feature.
a rap skit
Yeah.
in there.
Okay, the thing to know about Graham Chapman
Mhm.
is that Graham was also a licensed physician.
What?
Really?
Started out in medical school, went into comedy, finished and got his medical license, and was able
Oh.
to like prescribe medicine and stuff.
Wow.
Oh no! Is
Yeah,
that?
and he apparently did that on set. That he
I was
helped
gonna
people
say,
with their
like,
injuries.
Oh, like that kind of medicine?
Oh,
'Cause,
I
like,
think. Okay, I mean, you don't get that deep with a first tier search,
that's true.
but maybe I don't know.
I mean, it feels like they definitely must have exploited that sometimes, right?
Yeah.
Like, oh, Grandma, you hurt me elbow. Better get me the codeine.
Oh,
And if
I need
he-
some quadriludes. Scram.
He was a good doctor.
Mm-hmm.
He would tell them, I can't because we have a personal connection.
Oh.
So maybe see your physician.
yeah.
Do you think he inspired Dr. Ken Jeong? Like Dr. Ken Jeong saw
Yes.
this movie and was like,
He was
that
like,
man
I'm
is
gonna
a
be a-
practicing medical professional.
I want to be a comedian and a doctor.
Yep.
So first I got to go to med school.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, what's the best medicine now?
Exactly.
Nice.
Thank you.
Laughter.
Yeah.
right?
But also maybe
Medicine.
something prescribed.
Yeah.
Also medicine.
Also,
Medicine's pretty good medicine.
But also, hey, doctors, cool it with the, what's it called?
Painkillers.
Thank you.
Yeah.
The narcos.
Yeah.
Cool,
Cool
it,
that.
narco docs.
Yeah, hey, narco docs, stop. You can make enough money. Stop
Yeah.
being
Yeah.
complicit
you do.
in very problematic behavior. Also, drug companies, you're on notice.
You are.
Yeah, drug companies really are noticed.
We're watching you.
We are. Totes
We've
is
got
called the movie podcast.
We've got our
Keep an eye
eyes
on you.
on the pharmaceutical
Yeah.
industry.
Okay, if you
Also-
set prices for insulin and other badly needed medications, just get up from your desk, just go out
Oh,
into
yeah,
the hall,
Yep.
and you just announce, "Hey, I'm a creep."
Wait, announce to who?
Wait,
To all the
price
other
gougers are
creeps.
creeps now?
And you say, all of us are leaving this building until we can get these prices down.
I like
Yeah.
it. This is a good
Yeah.
plan.
Also, maybe while we're at it, maybe go walk away from your desk, walk over to, I don't know, your nearest senator
Yeah.
and be like, hey,
Wait, these
what
are
if you,
price
what?
gougers? Who's getting up for
these
the
are price
desk?
gougers
Okay.
slash
Yeah.
maybe anyone who agrees with this position. Go to your nearest senator, say to them, hey, why don't you guys set the price for this? And by set the price, I mean just subsidize it entirely.
Yeah.
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 Manufacture
also-
it. Go to California and see if Gavin Newsom's doing a good job with state-produced insulin, if that's happening yet.
Is that supposed to be happening?
I think so.
Oh. But also, Gavin, get your
Yeah.
shit together.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're watching you. Totes Recall the movie podcast.
You're on
We're
notice.
watching you.
Hey, governors in general,
Yeah.
careful.
Hey,
out
hey,
there.
Governor. This is a podcast about the life of Brian.
That's right.
That's right. So that's
One fact.
Wikipedia.
Oh, I have so many more, though.
Are these all Graham Chapman facts? Or?
No.
Okay. Are there any more specifically
Chapman
Graham
facts?
Chapman facts?
No.
Okay. Well,
I have a Terry Gilliam fact that I looked
Great.
up
Yes.
while
Where did
while
you
the
look it up,
space
though?
thing was happening.
Beth.
It was on a
Beth.
website.
Beth,
What?
do we need to sing another song?
Yeah.
Oh, Beth got bored and she looked at her phone and she didn't have a voicemail or an email. Then she looked at Wikipedia, even though that's Molly's bit, and she stole it from Molly. Beth's no longer Molly's friend. Beth hates Molly. She hates Molly. They're not friends anymore because Beth is a jerk. Wikipedia.org.
.com.
Wow.
As a reminder, if everybody donates an additional $3,
Yes.
they can override the original $3 ruling and turn it into Beth's Wikipedia corner, which we either always do or never do, depending on the
Right.
original ruling.
Right. Yeah, so if we're never doing it, but it was already voted that we should always do it.
No, it just changes the person. So if we voted to never do Molly's Wikipedia, now we are never doing Beth's Wikipedia corner.
Now this is crystal clear.
Would that mean that Molly could still do Molly's Wikipedia?
Corner. Now we're always doing Beth's Wikipedia corner.
Got it.
Okay. So you have the power, listeners. And by listeners, I mean the one, or no, in this case, all of you. Hey.
Plus one.
Plus
to
one.
do twice.
Step it up.
And that one, you could go 6 at one time. That's fine.
That's fine. Yeah, we'll know.
Yeah. Okay.
Beth.
Okay, so the opening animation
Yes.
of this movie is done by Terry Gilliam, who's also a member of Monty Python.
Mm-hmm.
And what I learned about him is that he's the only American from the Monty Python crew.
Wow.
And he was born
King Arthur's court.
in Minneapolis, Minnesota,
No.
which is where I was born.
Wow. Me too, I think.
That's where
Cool.
my child was born.
I don't know. I lived next to it
Whoa.
for a long time, and now I live in it.
Yeah, I live in it too.
Wow.
We live in Minneapolis.
Good job,
Me too.
everyone.
Don't find us.
Well, when did he move
the
across
opposite
the
of that.
pond?
I didn't look that much into it
Oh,
because when I
Beth.
looked up, there were aliens.
This is
on
why
the
we
screen.
have Molly read Wikipedia.
Oh wow.
Wow.
But
Rookie move.
He did become a citizen of the UK
Ooh,
in
braggy.
2006.
Oh, really? That
Wow.
late?
That's what I saw.
Is that
on-
because
he had to
it takes-
denounce his American citizenship?
it takes that long to become a Brit? Is that how
I
it works?
have no idea.
It takes like 35 years.
I didn't click on any links.
or 45
I looked
50
up
years?
and there were aliens holding eyeballs,
Uh-huh.
and
Yeah.
I was very confused. And I hid my phone because I was like, "Don't put it
See,
down, you'll miss
Beth,
something."
This just shows you why you need an experienced Wikipedia reader to take control of this segment. Did Molly stop learning facts because there was crazy shit on screen? No. She doubled down on being bored by this movie and brought us more fun facts that I'm sure she'll share with us soon.
Yes. Okay, I apologize for trying something new.
Thank you.
I
Apology
will-
accepted on behalf of Molly.
On behalf of Molly, friendship mended, but watch yourself.
Watch yourself. We're watching you, Beth.
Oh no. Me and Big Pharma.
Big farm.
And Governor Gavin Newsom. Or all governors. But
All governors.
especially Gavin.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay, Life of Brian is a comedy movie.
Yes.
Uh-huh. Molly, can you confirm that from your
Yeah.
Wikipedia dive? Okay,
Yeah.
great.
100%.
The comedy of it, I was on a journey with this movie because there's a lot that's a real bummer.
Uh-huh.
It opens with John Cleese in blackface, a lot of casual rape humor,
Yeah.
lot
I mean,
of
less
ableism.
than in honestly, probably less than in some comedies from later, which is
True.
a
Sure.
sad, a sad trophy to give to this movie. But
Yeah. But still, I love these goofballs. I grew up on Monty Python, and just the like cadence of their idiocy is
Right.
very pleasing to me. And like the incredulity that they have with each other and like the missed communication really just like still hits so hard for me.
I have a theory that if they were a group now and like grew up in with our 35-year-old sensibilities or maybe even younger sensibilities, they would be very like the movie that they made now would be very funny to us.
Yeah.
They have like the sense of humor is right for us. But yeah, there were just a lot of moments where I'm like, ugh, like we were texting during the movie since we're all watching in our separate homes, and there was just a lot of the grimace emoji being sent back and forth. Ooh.
yeah, it was very. I had a similar experience with Dan, where like as I was watching it, I remembered watching these like. I remembered how much my dad, like, really got us into like British comedy, like this era of British comedy when we were kids. So there's definitely some nostalgia there of remembering like watching this movie and some other Monty Python stuff with like him and his my uncle and his kids. And so like even though a lot of it is sort of like, oh boy, this certainly is a movie of its time, it was still just like, oh yeah, this was fun. You know, and sometimes things weren't always so fun. Molly, my parents are divorced. So it was nice to remember moments of levity where my father was laughing and smiling and joyful. But also there's a lot of like really problematic stuff that, you know, unless you're like okay, there's definitely like there's a argument that still goes on today where it's just like, well, it was of its time, and it's like, yeah, but it's like it didn't have to be. Right? Like there's a lot of people where it's just like, oh, it was just like people just made jokes like that back then. It's like, yeah, they did, they didn't have to.
Right. Well, so yes, I think there was lots of stuff. Yeah, lots of ableist parts, lots of speech impediment jokes, just lots of
half
stuff.
of British comedy from
At
like,
least half.
I think 20 years at least.
Absolutely. So I, in the spirit of not taking a poop on everything,
Thank you.
Wow. Thank you.
I would like to talk about some of the
Thank
parts
you for not pooping on everything.
of parts of the movie that I genuinely enjoyed.
I love it. I will join you on this quest.
There is a moment where Brian is in just a real pickle, which he's in a pickle through most of the,
Lots of
especially the second
pickles.
half of the movie.
Yeah.
But he's in
Pickles aplenty.
He is, and I forget why, but he's got to negotiate with a vendor. And the vendor gives him a gourd, but then really wants to haggle about this gourd and how much it was worth. And that original scene was really funny. It was really well done. Really enjoyed it. And of course, I enjoyed it when the haggling kept coming back and the gourd kept coming back. In fact, the gourd was my MVP. That was really excellent.
Yeah, the gourd, the guy who he gives the gourd to, I really enjoyed him. How like even when they thought he'd ascended to heaven, he was still yelling amounts of money to the sky for like how much he'd pay for the gourd. That was pretty good.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that. And I thought there were some other really bright moments.
Such as?
Well, I enjoyed stuff like at the last scene, I love that they ended on a song and they ended on a song that you'd want to like walk out of a theater to.
Yeah.
And I like that they had little details like one of the people being crucified was a woman wearing a beard, which is, of course, a callback to. Yeah, it was a callback to an earlier sketch. Also, this movie was a bunch of sketches and then a movie. But anyway, it was during one of the earlier sketches of women putting on beards, pretending to be men so that they could go to stonings, which, of course, is extra fun. Very Shakespearean.
Yes. Men
dressed as women who are dressing as men. Yeah. So, high five, William Shakespeare.
High five, William Shakespeare.
Hey, Billy.
Billy?
High five.
Good on you.
Good job for pioneering men playing women playing
Yes.
men.
Yeah, there were a lot of like throwaway lines, like just little quick zings that really tickled me. Like right at the beginning in the nativity scene where like they think that they found Jesus Christ and they're like describing who he is. And then his mom, because they tell his mom that they're astrologers and they're like describing like, oh, he's this, he's the king of the Jews. And his mom just goes, oh, so that's Capricorn, is it? That was really good. That's a good joke. I really liked I liked when they were buying stuff before the stoning where they just got like just a packet of gravel as like the stoning equivalent of just like a pack of gum, I guess. Because it's like, just that whole idea of just like this little paper cone of like tiny rocks that I guess you also throw. I guess is the idea. Like
fun.
You just kind of like toss the little pebbles. That was very funny to me. And that whole graffiti scene is, I think, my favorite scene in the whole movie.
Oh, right.
It's just so stupid. Where like the centurion is just mad at him for having bad Latin conjugation and actually like helps him with the graffiti. And then he's like, now write it 100 times. And like the cherry on top of that scene where at the end where like he does it all night and he covers the whole building with it. And then one of the centurions that's like left to guard him just goes, now don't do it again. That's solid. That's just solid.
Yeah, when it's just like equal
Goofiness.
idiots playing off each
Yeah.
other, and they're not like, I mean, essentially they're not punching down, right?
Yeah.
It's really good. Yeah, the scene that is now a meme was a meme before.
Yeah, what is this about a meme? Dan mentioned there was a meme about this that came from this movie.
Yeah, I wasn't going to bring it
none
up,
of us
but
are
then no
aware
one
of.
knew the meme, so here we are. It's when the like, what is it, Judea's People's Front?
Yeah, the People's
like-
Front of Judea.
Rebel organization that Brian joins is having a meeting about like what did the Romans ever do for us, and then people in the audience keep shouting up with like, well, the aqueduct, and like just like they keep piling it on, and I think the meme is like, oh, I'm gonna explain a meme on a podcast. Here we go.
I mean, you can just be brief. It's fine. Just be brief.
Can I?
Just
I
a
believe
6-second summary.
And I'm like 35, so I barely understand the format.
Do you need to do a TikTok? Do you want me to explain it through a TikTok?
Yeah, it might be a TikTok. So you TikTok the three, John Cleese, Michael Palin, third guy.
Eric Idle.
They're at the table, and it's like thing that was what did this person ever do for us? Well, this good thing that they actually did. Yep,
Got it.
that's
Great.
That's
That makes
my
sense.
understanding.
I get
of
it.
it.
I can see how that
And
meme would be.
Yep.
Cut all of this out.
Oh,
Just Google Brian Life of Brian meme.com
that-
and kids get on it.
a lot of the like bureaucracy jokes with that group was very funny to me. Like I really liked when like another one of my just throwaway lines that I never picked up on when I was a kid, where like all of them everyone except Brian, when they go to capture Pilot's wife, like when they all get killed, and they're like just taking inventory of like who was lost, and they describe them as to be recorded as probationary martyrs. I thought that was really funny.
Yeah. Yeah, the fracturing of political and religious groups jokes, I think really hit well, of like
Yes.
sort of doing a send up of fanaticism, or what do they call
Right.
it? Taking the piss. That's what
Yes.
they say over there across the pond.
Pretty
Oh,
sure.
in Jerusalem?
What?
In Jerusalem?
Oh, Jerusalem. Yes.
Yeah.
I wonder how many jokes I missed because I'm American and like it was a joke because I don't understand the reference.
I don't know. I mean, most of the jokes I feel like were just sort of like, isn't it silly that this person is responding in this way to this thing?
Look
I
how
guess so.
casual they are about this terrible way to die.
Like maybe in the actual show, like in Monty Python's Flying Circus, there were probably a lot of jokes that probably would go over our heads as
Yeah.
Americans. But
Well-
I feel like with the movie, it's more just like, here's this absurd situation.
They did release it in the United States first.
Really?
They did, yes, because they had actual fears about it being. It was against the law. Sacrilegious stuff was against the law. Like there could be some prosecution in the UK, and apparently a trial had happened fairly recently.
Huh.
Yeah, although they were very careful to point out that they didn't actually ever make fun of Jesus.
Right.
They more made fun of organized religion and those fractions that we were discussing earlier. So even though they were more popular in England, they released it in the U.S. first. And
Interesting.
rabbis apparently were the most angry to start, which
Sure.
and that makes sense. And also their funder backed out.
Oh,
Like
interesting.
2 days before they would begin filming. And
Was it the Pope?
it was not. It was
Okay.
not. And George Harrison ended up stepping in
Huh.
of the Beatles. And I
George
saw his,
Harrison, the Beatle?
the Beatle.
One of the lads
Really?
from Liverpool?
Yes. You can
There it is.
There it
There you
is. You can see I saw his name on the opening credits, and I thought, I wonder if that is the George Harrison. It is. He
Huh.
paid the $4 million cost of production,
Wow.
Interesting.
which
That is a fun fact.
That
he
is a
is
fun fact.
teased about the most expensive film ticket. And one more thing regarding this is at the very end when there's all that chatter after the song on all the crucifixes, there's a lot like, who's going to pay for all of this? Whoever it is definitely not going to get their money back, and so on. And that is about George Harrison. It's a
those were
call
jokes
out
for
just for
George.
him. Yep. Mm-hmm.
That's
Jokes
fun.
for George.
Thanks for funding our film. Okay, and one more fun fact.
Please.
I wonder
I'm
if
having so much fun.
any of the sets or setting looked familiar to you.
Ben-Hur?
Star Wars.
Another one.
Beth K. Gibbs, you are correct. Star Wars.
Wow, were they on Tatooine?
They were in Tunisia, which had just also recently filmed a 6-hour miniseries, I guess, about Jesus' life. So they were able to use a lot of those props and settings.
Great.
But they also offended a lot of Muslim people who were working
did?
as extras. The cast, there's that full frontal nudity scene.
Yes, which I was not expecting. I was like, there's something on the screen.
Yeah.
And then, like, not 5 minutes later, there's another thing on the screen.
Yeah.
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 We
So,
saw
Naked
penis
people.
first,
Yeah.
yeah. So, anyway, you're
and
welcome.
vagina later.
Yeah.
I mean,
The timing. You waited so long to say the second part of your sentence.
You're welcome. Yeah, I was also shocked by that reveal. I mean, we had seen a brief moment of backsack on the hermit. And I was slightly scandalized by that, but then we got, full frontal.
listen, I'm all for it. As I've said in previous episodes, spread it around. If you're going to have nudity, like, let's get some flaccid dongs just flopping around in there.
Yep.
Like, let's not monopolize on making us, like, just unexpected nudity.
Yes.
Or even
all
expected
bodies
nudity.
should shock us.
We should be surprised by all bodies of all kinds when the situation calls for it. Or, I guess, when the writers of the show or movie decide it calls for it.
Yes.
Bring more flaccid dong into the media is what I'm saying. That's the
Yeah.
hill I'm going to die on.
Media?
Hey,
More
media?
dog.
Are you
More
sure that's the one
dong.
you want to die on?
Yes. Honestly, yes.
Oh,
Because
apparently,
I feel like this is, like, it's 2020. It's so easy now.
The year of the dong.
The year of the dong. Well, I mean, maybe not. Year of the dick, I think, is more appropriate.
Yeah. All right.
I'm just saying, like, if you're going to I'm saying if you are going to be like, this is a program where we are going to have naked people, we have decided to be that kind of program, throw some dong in there. Equality.
and while
Yes.
you're at it, go
Yes.
for accuracy as they did in Monty Python. Because when they first went to shoot it, they realized that he was
Graham?
uncircumcised. Yeah.
Huh.
And so,
Did he get circumcised for the movie?
No, he just used a rubber band.
Oh, I'm so glad that you hated yourself for saying that out loud. That made it so much better. That is a fun fact. That is actually kind of a fun fact.
That is
Like
a fun
the
fact.
the fact that they felt the need, they need for accuracy for dongs in a movie where he literally falls off a tower into an alien spaceship.
Well,
Yeah.
Wow.
They researched that. You know?
And by research, they just ask Graham, like, "Hey,
how much research is that? Yep.
anyway, more dongs in media. Hashtag get it trending.
You're on notice, governors.
You're on you.
Please
What?
don't make this the hashtag that trends for us.
No.
Hey,
I want it
there's
to be
no
anything
such,
else.
There's
There's no such thing as a bad trend,
well.
Are you sure?
except a downward trend. Am I right?
You
Graph
are right.
heads.
Yeah, graph heads. Hey, let's bring an upward trend to the number of dongs in media.
I think you might overestimate how much people want to see flaccid
I'm
thongs.
not saying people want to see it.
Or any kind.
I'm not saying people want to see it. I'm just saying if we're going to continue to be like, hey, let's just have a naked person in this scene,
We've got
spread it
some
around a little.
exposition. Let's put some naked people in there.
Right.
So that people will continue to watch.
Yes. I'm just saying either give us both or give us none. That's what I'm saying.
Okay. I could go with
All
none.
right.
That would work for me.
Yeah.
Okay. Great.
Those are your options. So
Well,
donate
that's-
Donate
$3 additional dollars.
$69.
$3 additional
Hey.
dollars. Come on, Dan. For the listener at home, Dan just did a celebratory arm wave motion after that really solid joke.
Okay, speaking of
Solid jokes?
solid jokes. I got nothing. I have a note that says jokes, but we already talked about comedy, and comedy is jokes.
Ooh, is comedy more than jokes?
Ooh,
Yes, it's the truth. You're welcome.
The comedy,
very
the
good.
Herald, improv.
Take no
Chicago.
prisoners. Remember that if you are speaking, all your opinions are valid, and you should get mad at anybody who tries to stifle it, even if stifling it is actually just saying they don't like your dumb rape joke. Also, definitely respond to random women on the internet who criticize you for your comedy. It's definitely a good use of your time and definitely a good trajectory for your career.
Yeah.
What else?
This is some real comedy information.
Yeah. I mean, I am a professional white male comedian. And
Yeah.
so,
Yeah. If you want to be funny, just know that anything you say is.
yeah.
And it should never be criticized or
Yeah.
argued against.
Yeah. If you say something and then you say it was a joke,
Oh,
then
right.
Yeah.
they have no
Yeah.
argument
Well,
against you.
they're just
Right.
proving they're uptight.
They're just uptight and they need to loosen up and get a glass of wine.
Yeah. Just remember it's their thing. It's not you.
Yeah, it's their problem. Remember, you're not the asshole. You're the
Yeah.
comedian.
Right.
Yeah,
You're just trying to make
can't be
people
assholes.
laugh.
Yeah.
You're just trying to
holding
get
up,
to the truth.
Holding up a mirror at fractured society, man.
Yeah, man.
Wow. I am
Anyway,
depressed by
download our 20-part audio series on how to comedy.
Yep.
$1,000.
Oh.
Totesfreakout.com.
Watching this movie, it reminded me that just like, with Monty Python, a lot of it, you're just sort of like, it's one of those things, which I think we've talked before when we watch older comedies, where it's like, on some level, sometimes your brain can just kind of be like, haha, yeah, I can see how that's funny. But it's like, it's such a foundational, like, cornerstone for so much comedy that came after it that it's maybe not quite as, like, surprising to your brain as maybe it would have been when it first was created, right?
Yeah.
Like, they had so much influence on every, like, especially, like, troupe comedy after them. Like Kids in the Hall and Mr. Show and stuff like that. Like, you can just
Yeah.
see, like, their DNA sort of, like, filtering through all these other later iterations of sketch comedy. At least certain sensibilities of theirs.
That is interesting. I had not thought of that. Like the element of surprise is gone from
Yeah.
because it's just like, yeah, I've seen that before, but in a different setting.
And in probably like honestly, just like a setting that's more attuned to your generation's sensibilities too.
Yeah. I mean, the moments that really had me the most were ones that were just like so dumb that I'm like, oh, you are all like grown adult
Yes.
men
Right.
just hiding under sheets. Like,
Yes.
like that kind of thing really got me
The
because
hiding-
just the
yeah.
stupidity of it.
The hiding bit was very funny to me. Like, I really appreciated. I think my favorite guy in the whole hiding joke was the guy who would just like he would like hide. He wasn't hiding under a chair. He was like going through the chair so that he was now like the seat of the chair, right? Like his back was the seat of the chair.
Yeah.
Which then it suggests that they just had like a broken chair that he would grab whenever they had to hide, right? I don't know.
And the
So many
sheer
questions.
number of soldiers running in and running
That
out was
legitimately killed me.
very, very
Yeah.
good.
It's so
Yeah, that's
stupid.
Great.
So
I really like
stupid.
The old man that like legitimately lives there. He answers the door. He's like, I'm an old
Oh,
man.
yeah.
I've got crackled ears and a
Matthias.
burnt brain, and just like mixing
Yeah,
up all the.
his
it's really good.
him and his list of ailments was one of my MVPs for sure. Because I just loved how that was like his default. Was like anytime he opened the door, he would just start listing his ailments.
Yeah, just like a grab bag of
Yeah,
stuff.
good stuff.
Yeah, and really the like doomsayer that Brian eventually falls on really did it for me as well. Of like, you get your first good classic 3-beat structure. You've got your like first one who's like painted with like red eyes and
Yeah.
hand sticks, like full on doom stuff, and then the next one talking about how many blades the sword's gonna have. And then the third guy is just like these really vague predictions, like the dad's gonna come home and not know where the cup was that was on the stand before. Just like going off. That would really did it for me.
Yeah, I liked the whole like the whole premise of that sketch / scene was really fun. Where it was like just this just this avenue of prophecy people, and then like when Brian sort of just like had to force to disguise himself away, and how like I just like appreciated like the group of people were like engaged, but they were really argumentative, but still engaged, and like wanted to hear what he had to say, and were like mad when he wouldn't continue.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that.
Okay, so I would be remiss if I let this whole podcast go by without mentioning a thing about the name Brian.
Okay.
And that is when I was growing up, my friend was charged with making placemats or like little, place labels for people at the dinner table. And
Oh.
she had to write one for Brian, and
Mm-hmm.
she did it, and she set it out. And the adult
Sounds
was
good
like,
so far.
you can't do that. You have to redo it. And she was like, why? She's like, oh, you wrote brain instead of Brian.
Classic.
And to this day, that happened when I was a child. And to this
Yeah.
day, I cannot type out the word either brain or Brian without stopping and looking really hard.
Yeah.
Because
Can relate.
something happened. Those two things just absolutely merged in my brain. And I think
Yep.
if that had not happened,
Brian.
And you're Brian.
Oh!
yeah,
I do that all the time, and I hate it.
it's the worst.
It is the worst. You feel like such a goof.
Yep.
Like
Yeah.
it's such a different thing,
Yep.
right? Like one is the name of our executive producer, who we respect and admire,
Yep.
Mhm.
Yeah.
and one is just some glob in your head.
Your head glob.
Your head glob. Listen, Brian, executive producer of this episode, you are not a head glob.
No.
You are a wonderful patron. That's the word I was looking for.
There it is.
And
Brian
we-
fart there. Am I right?
Hey! Not you though, Brian McCain.
No.
You don't fart.
Well, maybe.
Maybe, but if you do, it's tasteful and
Infrequent.
infrequent. Unless you enjoy it, in which case, good for you. Also, it's healthy. Hey, teens,
Teens?
Yeah, teens.
let that gas fly. It's good for you.
The gas we pass. Read about it.
Read the book. Hey, teens, read a book.
Yeah.
And then get those drug prices down.
Yeah. Actually,
Read a book.
I mean,
Fart and fight big pharma.
yeah. And honestly, on that last one, like, legitimately, like, you're probably our only hope. So, teens, please take to the streets. You still have good knees. Take to the streets and demand change while you still can. Sorry for fucking everything up for
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. Hey, it's not our fault.
Yeah, it's our
There you
parents'
go.
fault.
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of things that are not our fault, but also are a bummer, I don't think this passed the Bechdel Wallace.
Oh,
even
not
with
even
our
close.
generous.
I mean,
Uh,
yeah, no, it definitely didn't. I was going to say there was the scene where all the women were like he did. I mean, she's over there, or whatever.
Right.
But then
Unnamed.
none of them were named.
Oh,
Did we
right.
ever get a
And-
name on the mom?
Mrs. Bryant.
Old
Yeah, did-
Lady Brian, who we don't
Did-
care about. And
did-
maybe she's a prostitute, but we're not sure.
she is.
Oh, is that what that was?
Well, I don't think she's a prostitute so much as she just like does sex things for guards so that she can get money to provide for her family.
Okay.
So like I don't know if she's like specifically like going out like, hey, I'm a prostitute, so much as like she just has some relationships with certain guards, including Brian's dad, I guess.
Right. This makes sense.
I don't know if she was ever named. Did he name her? What did he say? Did he just say like, "Oh, hello, ma'am"?
I thought maybe all the people gathering below. They said there was one line that was like, "Is that her name?" Like Hakan or
Oh, Hosanna. No, that's the name of
no,
that's like a
Jesus,
praise.
Dan, read a hymnal.
Yeah.
like a teen for Bibles.
Yeah.
Well, okay, because her and Judith yelled at each other at one point, but I was distracted by something else, and I couldn't quite follow the conversation.
Yeah, because I feel like Judith yells at her about Brian, and then Mom only talks to Brian about Judith. I don't think they ever actually speak to each other in a way that passes the test.
All right.
Yep.
Well, nailed it. They failed.
Yep.
All right. Before we get to our final reviews of the movie, Life of Brian, we like to read a review of our podcast, totesrecall.com, in the impression of a character from that movie. And by the way, the review is a maximum star review. Never forget that it's a maximum,
review.
Star review.
You know the old saying.
Yeah.
Maximus review us.
What?
Oh, nice.
That's very good.
Thank you.
I missed it.
She said Maximus.
And
okay.
we have
Wow.
What?
Beth was trying to give you the joke again so you could enjoy it with us, and you just cut her off.
Okay, one more
Hashtag
time.
listen to women.
Maximus review us.
Oh, visual gags for an audio medium. Anyway, we do have a review.
Wow.
A lot of quality accents in this movie.
I feel like Pierce Brosnan showed up a bunch of times in that movie.
He definitely did. I feel like every side character was played by Pierce Brosnan.
Well, I'll do a Pierce Brosnan.
Pierce Brosnan.
Pierce Brosnan.
Great.
All right, it's me, Pierce Brosnan. Honestly, bless these humans. 5 stars. I am always happy to see a new episode come up from Totes Recall. Infectious cackling and questionable puns wrapped in a tortilla of social awareness make this podcast a burrito for my ears. And who doesn't love ear burritos? Me hunger aside, I implore you to listen to these quirky folks. They're hilarious, endearing, awesome, and while 2 hours of talking about a movie and usually other things might seem like a lot, it flies by because you feel like you're part of their world for a little bit, and that's freaking magic, especially right now.
Oh. Wow.
And
Wow,
who wrote
thank
that?
you.
Who wrote that review, please?
For Jesse 69420.
Yes.
Yes.
Ultimate
username.
username. Ultimate username. You win. What was it? For Jesse?
For Jesse
For Jesse
69420.
69 for 20. Thank you for your review. Thank you for your
Amazing.
username. You've warmed my
you.
black little heart.
So if you would like your review read by Pierce Brosnan, leave it on Apple Podcasts or somewhere else, but tell us if you left it anywhere else.
Yes.
My name is Dan.
Wow.
Wait, do we go start at the top again?
Yep. Here we go.
All right.
I believe we also had a phone call.
We do have a phone call.
A phone call, and how would someone leave a phone message
Oh,
for
yeah.
us, Dan?
Real easy. Our number is 612-A-089. Put a do. Erase the last 4 numbers you dialed.
The classic jingle that we all know and all have figured out what the phone number is from. But also just go to totesrecall.com and the phone number is there.
Yeah.
And one day,
appreciate is you don't have to know that putt has 2 T's because the last part of putt and ado are totally irrelevant.
Well, if you're on
They just
if you're
added
calling from a
another word.
landline, you can just plow through.
That's
Yeah.
I
true.
think. But from a cell phone, you dial all the digits and it gets mad at you. So you have to know to erase
Right.
The
4.
last T and
Yeah.
then
And you need to know
AD.
there's 2 T's in putt.
Yeah. If you call,
ADU? ADO.
I assumed it was ADO.
Yeah, that makes
Yeah.
sense. Yeah.
Put-a-do.
Okay, here's the
Put-a-do about
voicemail.
nothing. Oh.
Okay, yes.
Hello, Totes Recall. It's Ben from Minneapolis, and I just have, well, it's not a quick question, but the movie that you just finished watching and discussing right now, if you have to change the ending, how would you change the ending? Thank you. I will take my answer off the air.
Oh, that's so fun.
Ben
Thank
coming
you,
in
Ben,
with
from
the
Minneapolis.
hot quest.
I know how
Okay,
I would
if-
do it.
How, Molly?
Go for it.
I would have those aliens come back.
Okay.
Yes.
And do.
And first of all, they would join in the song.
Okay.
They would all sing. And then the aliens would release everybody, and there would be a big, like, Ewok there'd be a big Ewok style party,
Yep.
and then
Yep.
blackout.
Okay.
That's good. Yeah, the aliens should definitely come back and beam up all the crucifixes.
Yeah.
Just
What are
the
they called?
crucifixes, not the people?
Well, the people are attached to them.
So you want to leave them attached to the crucifixes, but
Well,
in
then they-
space.
But then they're
You just want to space crucify people.
and then they turn into stars. And that's how the stars were born.
What?
my Brian.
Yeah, I will say I remember watching this movie as a younger person and actually being like a little bit filled with despair. Like there was a moment of being like, because it does seem like maybe he's gonna get rescued,
Yeah, right.
and then he doesn't, which I think is better for the movie. But it's like there was a moment I was remembering of like, oh no, it's like one of my fears, I guess, to like be killed in a misunderstanding.
Whoa. Jesus, dude.
So it's hit me there. So I guess I'd have him saved, even though I
Okay.
think it's funnier to not.
Yeah. I would have. I think I would have like when they're singing the song, right, and it pans out to the full wide shot of all the crucified people. I think at that point I'd have George Harrison walk into frame. They're like,
yeah.
"Hello, I'm George Harrison. I don't remember what I sound like."
I don't know that we've ever heard George talk. We've only heard his assistant.
What?
That's George Lucas, right?
That's George
Yeah.
Lucas.
Wait,
Oh my God, Beth. Okay, yeah.
man.
So George Harrison comes out and is just like, "Hello, first of all, even though we also filmed in Tunisia, I'm not George Lucas. I hope you enjoyed the film The Life of Brian. Please see it again. I need my money back. Also, check out whatever album I probably released sometime either in the year this came out or the year before or soon after. I'm George Harrison.
Great.
Also, in the future, I will fend off a man who breaks into my house and stabs me because I am the most badass Beatle."
Yeah.
Is that true?
Yeah, I mean, he still got stabbed, but like, he didn't get killed because he fucking tussled.
Amazing.
Wow.
The same
I
thing
didn't know
happened to
that.
David Spade.
David Spade got stabbed?
I think someone broke in and tried to kill him. Yeah.
Oh my
Oh
gosh.
my God. Hey,
Pretty-
People-
Also, he's Kate Spade's brother
No. No.
yeah,
of the bags.
yes.
No, I know who Kate Spade is. Are you sure though?
Yeah, he's at least related to her because he like had a heartfelt thing when she died.
Oh.
Yeah.
my mind is blown.
You're
Brian?
Brian?
My brain.
Ah,
Brian's fried.
Always look
Burr, 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 burr.
Anyway, thank you, Ben.
Thank
for
you,
that.
Ben. Great question. Look at
great
this
question.
incredible
Great-
conversation.
I love a little conversation starter.
Yeah, me
prompt
too.
Game.
Yeah.
Do that.
Hey, maybe take some of the work off us coming up with things to talk about.
Yeah.
Taking the load off. I
We
appreciate
need
it.
more things to talk about.
Yeah.
So Beth can cut more things out.
We need a longer podcast, is
I
what we're
think
saying.
that's exactly what I'm saying.
So anyway, just remember the number is always 612
612
8089. Putt a do, erase a do, and 1 T from putt.
You know, I was dubious of this jingle the first time we tried it, but like it's really growing on me. And I feel like it is going to become like the new, you know, that jingle that just like pops in your head years later, right? Like
Yeah.
you don't even necessarily remember like when did I last even hear that? But like someone will be driving along like 50 years from now and suddenly just like be sitting in a stoplight and just be like, A 089 2.
Yep.
So you're welcome, future people.
Okay, we rated this movie with Brown Brian
Yep.
VHS cases.
Yes.
Yep. Hey, Gary's video. Come see our patented Brown Brian cases. Unless you've seen a UPS truck or suit or logo. Pit litigation pending. Also, Dan Jaquette is banned from the store for being a real turd of a child. Maybe he's got problems at home. I don't pry. Gary's video.
Wow. Never thought I would get banned from Gary's video. Sad day. How am I going to get rent Monty Python's Holy Grail for the 8th time? Okay, Dan, you gave it 3 cases, thinking it would be dated and a bunch of men being men, but maybe real funny.
Yeah, I think that is true. Like, there were definitely parts that I legitimately found funny, and I think overall it is like, yeah, I think they are definitely. I mean, they are very much a very like talented, cohesive comedy group, and you can kind of see why they were such a big deal. And still, I think, are pretty enjoyed by 8 and 11-year-old boys, is how we said at the beginning. But yeah, it's definitely, you know, it is very much a product of its time. Like, there's definitely a lot of parts of this movie where, like, I feel like I'd have to have an uncomfortable conversation with, like, other white dudes who other, like, comedy nerds who maybe are just like, what, it's a joke, and just like, yeah, but it doesn't have to be, which is, I guess, my catch-all term now for this conversation that will never end until all men are banned from comedy, probably.
Ban all men from comedy.
Yeah,
Except
hashtag-
Dan and I on this podcast.
Thank you. Yeah,
the
those
top
are our
men.
two. Those are the 2 trending hashtags for Totes Recall. Hashtag whatever I said earlier about more dongs, and ban all men from comedy except Dan and I on Totes Recall the podcast. 3 brown berry. Oh no. Brown
Brian.
Brian. Oh, wow. I couldn't remember the other B word. I was going to say brown bagging it, like we're brown bagging our videos. Like, oh, yeah, if I get videos at work every day, it's too much money. Anyway, 3 Brown Brian videos, I think, is fair. 3 Brown Brian videos, I'm a coward. Hashtag ban all men from comedy except Dan and I from Totes Recall the podcast.
Beth, your Beelzebub, Big Man, Best Boyfriend, Blair Witch, Butcher Baggins said you would hate this movie, but you were going to remain hopeful and
Yes.
give yourself distance to fall/walk
Yes.
to a lower number.
I didn't really like it, but I wouldn't say it was bad. So I would give it, I think I'm going to say 2. I think if this movie were remade today with like, I don't know, the comedy just didn't hold up for me, I guess, from when the first time I never saw it. But there's just a lot of jokes that kind of feel stale now because I've seen it so many other places, and then also some things that are just like not funny. So yeah, I did appreciate lots of the like just the silliness of it. So, and I recognize that it was probably a well-made comedy at the time too.
Great. I gave it a 4, being very excited for Monty Python, but feeling like there was going to be some bummers. That is true. I really enjoyed just like watching Monty Python do comedy and thinking back to how much I loved it as a youth. But yeah, some of the stuff just like is hard to watch and then not as funny as it was in 79. I guess I'm going to give it a heavy-hearted 3. Because enough of it like was just like offensive now that it like bummed me out, but it still like was like, ooh yeah, I like this comedy. So right in the middle, I'm sad and a coward. Molly,
I want that to
is
be
that a t-shirt?
that, but I also just want that to be like one of the review lines on the packaging for this movie. I'm sad and a coward. Dan Tuquin. Totes Recall.
Yeah. Molly, you talked yourself all the way up to a 5.
Yeah, you did.
And I don't remember why, other than it was bold to do so.
Yeah.
Well, I did it because I felt like I wanted to have the most optimistic perspective going in.
And you wanted to respect our producer.
I wanted to respect our producer. And
who we do respect.
Which we
Yes.
do
Oh, yeah.
respect. And then Dan, I think, 5-star producer.
Brian for Brian.
Agreed.
That's right.
Hip, hip. Oh, no. That's something else. That's a different thing.
The truth is, I really hated this movie. Like, I don't think I've spent so much time looking at my phone. To be honest, after I was done looking up facts, I played a word game on my phone for a little bit, which is like the lowest I've ever fallen.
Molly.
Like, even Freaky Friday, I mostly watched. So,
Wow.
for
Did you
these
have the
reasons-
word
You're
game at the
engaged
time,
in your
though?
anger for that movie, though.
That's true. That's true. I had a greater emotional investment. So I did watch it for the most part. I really felt challenged by it. And I think in part because I didn't have an emotional or nostalgic hook. And some of the punching down was super sad and frustrating. And because it was new at the time, it felt tedious now, which is unfair. I will grant that. Totally unfair.
Yeah.
And yet, just if we're talking about my actual viewing experience, like I could probably go lower than 1, but out of respect, I'm
Wow.
going.
You would
1
actually wait.
Brian Brown VHS cover,
If you were to go lower than 1, you would be going lower than Freaky Friday, lower
which
than
is
Phantom
not
Menace.
possible.
Okay. I just want to
Because-
make sure that we have this on record.
No, it's true because like that is like the 0. There is nothing worse than Freaky Friday. So this isn't as
watch it
bad as
again.
that.
We should watch that again.
That was the worst. That was the most angry I think I've been in a long time.
Yeah, but now you won't be surprised by it, right? Like the first time you were angry because you thought we were watching a different movie.
I wonder if you watched it again, if you would kind of like it.
Oh my God, wouldn't that be great? That'd be so funny.
Because this time you're like, I hate it so much, and then you watch it and you're like, oh, I guess it's not as bad as I remember it being.
I don't know, guys.
But I do remember it being pretty bad.
For our
Yeah.
10th anniversary show, we will rewatch Freaky Friday.
No.
Yep.
10 years later. A review 10 years later.
Yeah.
I guess it's a fair amount of time to let pass. So
How about this, Molly? We'll rewatch it, but while we're watching it, we'll also play audio from the Freaky Friday episode, so you can just like stay grounded in how angry you were at the time.
okay,
Great
I'm
idea.
in.
Okay, great.
That's perfect.
So look for that in 4 years.
4-ish
Something like that.
years.
3.5. Anyway, this is Totes Recall, a podcast about the life of Brian.
So what was your rating? I actually
One.
missed what your 1. Okay.
1.
One
One brown Brian bag of
brain bag.
videos. One brown brain bag of videos.
One brown. Oh, bag. Yep. Baggins.
What?
I think now these are 2 bits that are crossing over into one bit, and it's very confusing.
This is amazing. I mean, that's why, like they say in Ghostbusters, never cross the bits.
That's
Yeah,
fair.
never
You don't cross the bits.
Here's to you, Brian. May
Brian
your
McCain.
life turn out better than this Brian's.
Agreed.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, definitely.
100%
yes.
agree on that.
Yes. But thank you, Brian, for your patronage and for your selection of this movie. It has created a real humdinger of a conversation and got us a brand new bit, I think. Or maybe two bits that smooshed into each other. In any case, Brian, you did it.
Thank you, Brian.
Thank you, Brian.
Thank you.
Beth, edit this so that this is a great ending. And we really do a good job making Brian feel important and respected for producing this episode.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll try my best.
Okay, thank you.
Totes Recall is hosted by Molly Chase, Beth Gibbs, Dan Jaquette, and Dan Linden. Produced by Beth Gibbs. New episodes of Totes Recall drop on the 15th of every month. For more information and bonus content, visit us at totesrecall.com. Thank you so much for listening.